Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another video, and this is, as you can tell by the title, based around the World Cup. I'm already in World Cup fever, and I just wanted to get a prediction video out pretty much. It's very soon, and a lot's going to change. I'll probably do one sooner to the World Cup. Also, let me know your predictions, because I'm excited, man. The fever's here. The World Cup song came out a few days ago. It's actually a banger.
Do me a favor. Shut the fuck up.
But we're going to get into it, and hopefully I don't piss you off too much. So obviously we're starting with Group A. We've got Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal and the Netherlands. Now looking at these squads, obviously Qatar they're the hosts. Like, obviously the hosts have an advantage in many ways. They've got the crowd behind their backs. But I don't know how much of an advantage the Qatar crowd is. I don't even know the population, how big the sport is there. I know the sport is big throughout a lot of the Asian countries in that sort of region, but I just don't think they've got good enough quality. I was looking at the squad, and it's literally just all their players playing Qatar, which isn't the highest level anyway. Then you've got Ecuador, who have got a good amount of like youngsters, hungry players coming through. Got a good left back. They've got a good centre back who plays for Leverkusen, I think. And I mean, I think they've just got a strong team. I've heard a lot about them, and I know they've got a lot of youngsters coming through, so they're hungry, and obviously they've got that South American flair. Senegal, who, I don't know if I should be saying this yet, but they're my dark horses. I've got like 2 or 3 dark horses, but they're the number one. I genuinely think this could be like the furthest an African team has gone in the World Cup, which would be sick, man, because I remember in 2010 when Ghana got scammed by Uruguay and by Suarez, and I was backing them back then, but I honestly think they could get, and from my knowledge, I think they could get a decent run from the round of 16 to the semi-finals. So obviously we'll see. And then we've got Netherlands, who always a good team in the World Cup, always a good team overall, but they've not qualified a lot recently. And I feel like their wingers and their attackers, like, they've obviously got a very strong defence, or very strong centre-backs, De Ligt and Van Dijk. For me, the best duo of defenders in the tournament. Fullbacks, they've got Dumfries. Left back, maybe like Blind, who's obviously not the fastest, but he's an intelligent player. De Jong in midfield, you got Van der Beek. Some decent midfielders, obviously, with De Jong, who's a class midfielder. But then the attackers, you got Depay, you got Bergwijn, you got Gakpo. Like, they're still sort of selecting. I don't know if Babel's still being selected and stuff like that. I don't think he is, but like, he was being selected up until recently. And obviously their goalkeepers too. They've got like Krul playing, or he's like being selected and like playing a few games here and there. Like, they've got a lot of issues, as well as the positives, they've got a lot of negatives. And for me, again, goalkeeper, now thinking of it, is quite an issue, and their attack. So based off that, and I know Senegal, they've got a lot of standout players, but they've also got their issues. But I honestly think Senegal will, how do I do this? Senegal will finish first. I think they'll probably draw with Netherlands and then beat the other two. The Netherlands second. I think they'll probably draw one or two, maybe against Ecuador too, and then beat Qatar. And I think, see, I should back the hosts. I know I should, but I just think there's such a drop in quality. I think Ecuador will probably just win against Qatar, or maybe draw. But then I think Ecuador will draw against the Netherlands as well. So I think that kind of order. I think most people will select Senegal and the Netherlands because it's quite a clear favourite in this group, but I don't really see a surprise for Qatar. Maybe Ecuador could put a surprise. Maybe Senegal won't do as well as they've been doing recently. Obviously, they've won the AFCON. They've done a lot of good things, and they've got a good squad, man. They've got one of the best goalkeepers in the world, one of the best centre-backs in the world. They've got Ismaila Sarr. They've got Idrissa Gana Gueye, who's a class midfielder. Obviously, you've got Mane. There's probably some players off the top of my head that I'm not thinking about. They've got the PSG Diallo. Obviously, I'm just nitpicking some names here, but they've got a lot of strong players. They've got Sarr from Bayern Munich now. Their left back, they've got a left back recently too. I can't think who he is. So in Group B, we've got England, Iran, the US, and you've either got Scotland, Wales, or Ukraine. I'm sort of going to judge this as Wales because they're the closest to qualifying. I don't know what's going to happen with Ukraine, if they're going to be able to play games. And Scotland, I mean, maybe based off squads, Scotland's team is maybe better than Wales, but I'm just going to say Wales just for the fact that I want to include a team in this video. And I mean, they're just the closest to qualifying out of all the teams that are in the playoffs. But you've got England, who obviously my home nation. I think, don't get me started, man. I think we've got a very talented squad, as I think most people would say. But our coaches, our selections, oh my days, don't get me started. Do not get me started on the selections, man. For starters, Tomori, Give him a chance, man. Give Tomori a chance. He's got the possibilities of being our #1 centre back, leading our line, and we're relying on players like Maguire, who, don't get me wrong, I think he should, even if he has a bad year going to the World Cup, he's having a bad year now, but the next season and what's going to happen for the rest of this season, if he still continues to have a bad year, I still think it would be probably the best thing to just bring him along as a backup. But Tomori needs to go, man. Tomori, specifically, is really pissing me off because I think he should just, be given a chance. So, I mean, obviously England, we've got the chances, we've got the quality, but the coaching is, for me, what could let us down. Now, Iran. I don't know much about Iran. I know they're 2 attackers, Taremi and Azmoun. Azmoun for Leverkusen and Taremi for Porto. 2 strong strikers, 2 strong attackers, and their goalkeeper plays in the Portuguese league. And Jahan Bash as well. That's the most of my knowledge to the Iranian team. But I know based off previous World Cups, they always seem to be a bit of a problem. Even the last one when they played Spain, Portugal, and was it Morocco? In the last World Cup? I think it was. They were just an issue. They nearly beat Portugal, I think. And they've just always got a strong team. Maybe they don't look as good on paper. Or maybe from my opinion they don't. But then they just play for the badge. And also, I think Iran is a lot closer to Qatar, so I'm thinking maybe they're going to have sort of more of a home advantage with more fans travelling and stuff, which could be huge. And also the climate could be more to the favour of the Iranian players, because obviously you're from Iran, you've grown up in hotter conditions, you're used to playing in hotter conditions. Compared to English players, you're playing in England, it's cold, it's damp, all this kind of stuff. So it's going to be a big help to the players. Obviously the US, I've done quite a few videos related to the US national team. Young, I think it's the youngest going into the competition, but promising, man. And it's a good sort of warm-up to the 2026 World Cup, where a lot of their youngsters will have had a few more years to develop. You've got young players. Obviously Pulisic is he's one of the more experienced players, and he's 23, I think. Yeah, it's a young team, and by then a lot of their youngsters could have developed even more. So I think there's a lot of hope for them. And Wales. Now the thing is with Wales, they're not a bad team. They've got a lot of good sort of spirit, but Bale's going to be another nearly 7-8 months older, and he's already getting on a bit. I don't know if he's going to even be playing for a team next. Well, he probably will, but I don't know who, because he's obviously his contract's running out. But Bale's he's their key player, and I wonder what he'll sort of be doing by that point, if he'll even be injured or not, or just stuff like this. And the rest of their squad, they've got a few sort of low-end Prem players. It's quite championship and even League One sort of level. No. It's just a few years back in the Euros when they finished top above England, they had players like Ramsey and Bale closer to their prime, and now Ramsey's playing in the SPFL. He's still obviously got his abilities and stuff, but this is another 7 months then. And just things like this, I just wonder. Again, this is if they even qualify. This could be based for Scotland, and I think Scotland would be a bit of a different argument. But in terms of Wales, I just think they'll struggle a lot more. So I'm going to put England first because I'm biased and all that. But I just think we've got good quality. I think we'll probably beat Iran. Wales, I'm going to say we beat them. If you're from Wales, I'm sorry. And I think the US will be a tight one. I think it'll be a draw because, again, last time we played them, we won 3-0, but it was a friendly and stuff. And it just seems like a different team. Plus, you're never going to get 9 points, I don't think. Even England, not even England, even the other nations in this tournament. I just think it's always hard to get 9 points in a group. And there's one team I can see us sort of stumbling up against. It would definitely be the US team. So, based off saying the US will draw against them, I think they'll finish second. I think Iran will finish third. I think the home advantage will help them. I think they might draw against the US, something like that, and then beat Wales. So that pretty much means I'm saying Wales will get 0 points. But you made it, so...
Do you honestly think you're fucking funny?
But this is an interesting group. You've got obviously the US, Iran. There's the whole history behind that. You've got England with Scotland or Wales, which a lot of rivalry.
Lad, are you dumb?
Rivalry there too. And even Ukraine, you got sort of a love story, I guess you could say. But then Scotland or Wales, for the selfish point of view, from my opinion, would be good to see. So yeah, that's Group B. Don't get too pissed off. I'm sorry if I've triggered you, but
I'm here to tell you right now, We don't care.
So Group C, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico and Poland. It's quite, for me, it's quite actually an even group. Obviously everyone's got a standout team, which is Argentina. I don't rate them as highly as a lot of people do. Even though they've done well recently, they won the Copa America. They came second in qualifying. And I mean, yeah, they've done well, and they're still Argentina. Not a great team for Argentina, in my opinion. Still a great team overall. And you've got Saudi Arabia. I just don't think they really stand a chance, to be honest. Mexico, always a good team. I rate their team so much, but they've not really been performing as well recently. I think there's a lot of uproar with the coach, especially from the Mexico fans. Because you look at their squad, you've got a front three that's class. You've got Corona. Again, pronunciations, I can't do them. Corona, Jimenez, who's been off form, but Jimenez on his day is quality. And you got Lozano, who, beast. Again, just a good player. You got Herrera in the midfield. You got Guardado, who's a bit older. I still think he'll be playing then. And just, yeah, you got a lot of good players. There's a bit more experience, but I don't know how it will sort of pan against teams like Poland, who are a good team, a good European team. You got Lewandowski, who's still going to be a bags man even in 7 months' time. He'll probably be like 34 then. But it's an interesting group. And I mean, I just sort of think Argentina, even though Messi will be like, what, 35 then, they've got a few other players who are a bit more older, but they've got a lot of youngsters coming through too. I do think they've just got a bit too much quality. So Argentina first, Mexico second. I do think Argentina will probably get like 6 points, maybe 5 points. I think they'll drop points to some teams here. And then Mexico will be second on like 5 points, and then Poland third on like 4th, and then Saudi Arabia on like 0. I think it'll be close, and you could interchange Mexico and Poland, but I just think Mexico always do well in the World Cup specifically. They always know how to make the last 16. It's then the last 16 when they struggle to then get past that stage. But that's my prediction there. I mean, Messi, I love him. Everyone loves him. It would be good to just see him get to at least the last 16 and possibly further, because he deserves it, man. Him and Ronaldo, I'm just happy to be able to experience one last tournament with both of them, man. It's going to be fun, bro. I'm so excited. Ow, shit. I'm so excited, man. I'm so excited for the damn World Cup. All right, Group D. France. I think this is Peru or New Zealand. And I'm just going to say Peru. I think in my prediction yesterday, I put Peru. Denmark and Tunisia. I'm not even going to argue. France number 1. You can't really say any more. It's just, yeah, the talent that they have is Jesus, man. It's not fair, but France are France. And as quickly as I've done that, I think I'm going to do the same with Denmark. I know I probably shouldn't be counting out Peru or really Tunisia, but I think Denmark are sick. I think they could actually draw to France. They play each other in June for the Nations League. That's the one, Nations League. And I think that'll be a good warm up, obviously. But I think Denmark are sick, man. They should have probably knocked England out of the Euros. They played better than us. Got a lot of young talent, got a lot of experience. Just, yeah, there's probably still a feel-good factor around sort of Eriksen coming back and sort of being able to play again. Balling out too, let's not forget. And I mean, yeah, Denmark, just a quality team. I think Denmark second, then Peru will be third. Because South American teams, they've always got a bit of hustle to them. They're always like a very good level. And Tunisia, I'd like to see Tunisia do well. They've got Hannibal, like the youngster at Man United. That would be sick to see him play, because he plays for them as a starter, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, they've got other players too, but he's the player on the top of my head that I'm going to be excited to see him in the World Cup, because I know he's a baller. But that's Group D. And now let's get into Group E. So Group E, you've got Spain, you've got Germany, Japan, and I think Costa Rica. Costa Rica is a team that I sort of predicted. I think they're against, I don't know who they're against, but I've predicted Costa Rica to go through. And this is tough, man. I think with Spain, it's actually hard because they've both got the players. I think Germany's a bit more experienced. They're not as good as the old Germanys have been, but they're still Germany. Spain, they got a lot of youngsters coming through, and I think in the next 4 to 8 years, we're going to see them get back to the old ways. Same with Germany, to be honest. They've got a lot of youngsters too, but I think Germany just have a lot more sort of players in their prime now. You've got like their midfields flipping. I've got Kimmich, Goretzka, Kroos. Oh, just take a day off, man. Thomas Müller, Sane, I think he's slowly getting to his levels again. He's not been as good the last few years. Werner, we'll not speak about him.
If I speak, I am in big trouble.
and I don't want to be in big trouble.
Gnabry, oh mate, you're taking the piss. For a Germany team that's not maybe at the level that they can be at, it's a joke. So for me, Germany first, and one of the reasons for that is Spain. Why is there stars of these? Is it the amount of World Cups they've got? I think it is. With Spain, the issue of Spain for me is strikers. They're goal scorers. They don't really have one. Well, they do, but their manager's selections, man. Luis Enrique is crazy with his suggestions, with his selections for me. Obviously, you've got Morata, who I think is their main starter. You've got Moreno, Gerard Moreno, and I think there's a few other players I can't really think off the top of my head. Does Ferran Torres play up striker for them ever? I think he's a possibility because I think he's a baller, but I don't know if Enrique will do that. Their selections for goalkeeper though. Okay, I'm a Man United fan and we are terrible. But the goalkeeper suggestions, I keep saying suggestions. Selections, speak English. So he selected Simon Raya from Brentford and Sanchez from Brighton. I'm baffled, man. You've got goalkeepers in the Spanish league. You've got De Gea. Just what is the disrespect for, man? Obviously, Spain is still Spain. They've got a lot of youngsters specifically coming through, man. A lot of excitement for them, the Spanish people, for the future and possibly for this World Cup. But I think they'll come second. Japan third. Japan are always fun in the World Cup. They're always one of those teams that just sort of pull off a surprise. I remember the last one. They probably should have beat Belgium. They just sort of capitulated in the last minutes. But I like seeing Japan, man. They're always fun to watch. And I mean, if they were put in another group, same sort of situation as Peru, they probably could have done better. But when you got Spain and Germany, you can't say much. And then Costa Rica in fourth. I don't think they'll pull off a surprise like they did in 2014 against my team. But you never know. But yeah, it's just I think a lot of their players that were in that tournament are just aging a bit more. And yeah, so that's my prediction for Group E. Let's get into Group F. So Group F. This for me is where there's going to be a big surprise. Now, I might be completely off of this. So you've got Belgium, Canada, Morocco and Croatia. Belgium obviously are Belgium, but I'm not going to lie, man. They're aging. You still got KDB who's still in his prime, but he's not playing as much. And I also wonder maybe how he'll be in 6-7 months time. He'll obviously still be incredible, but he'll be playing a bit less and less. He's still their standout player by far and still one of the best players in the world. Got Lukaku, who he's a good tournament player. I think he'll do well in this group, but he's not. You're seeing in the Prem, he's not as maybe high level as we thought he was when he came back to the Prem from Inter. But then, other than that, you've got Hazard, who in 7 months' time he might not even be playing for them. Mertens, does he still play for the national team? I don't think he does. Maybe he does, but he's getting on. He's like 35 now. Their defence, they've got a lot of young sort of defenders coming through. You've got Beata who's playing, who's a lot older. But that Thiete, I can't say his name. Denea, Dendonka, I think he plays in defence for them. Tielemans, who's another good player. But I just don't... This isn't the Belgium teams that we've sort of seen from the last sort of 10, 12 years. Or 10 years. Like, they're not in their prime golden generation years anymore. I think this is the year that we're actually going to see a big fall off. I could be off, like hugely off of this, but when you've got teams like Canada, done reactions to them, so maybe there's a bit of bias. I think this could be a year where they surprise a few people. You've got Jonathan David, who in 7 months' time, I think he'll probably get a move. He's linked to a lot of top teams. He could get a move, and he's obviously balling out now in Ligue 1. And then you've got Davies, who's... I mean, Alphonso Davies, he's one of the quickest players in the world and he's just a quality player. Eustachio, who I've learnt about, and he's just got to move to Porto. Very good player. Good goalkeeper, solid goalkeeper. Like, they've just got... And I think the thing is with Canada, they've just got a lot of togetherness, which sounds a bit cliche, and maybe against teams like Belgium, it won't be that helpful. But I think it could be a surprise with the feel-good factor of it being the first World Cup in 36 years. Could pull off a few surprises. Now Morocco. I was actually thinking they were going to have Ziyech, but they don't. The manager's got beef with possibly their best, well, definitely their best attacking player. Like, I was going through their squad, right? I'm just going to get it up. They've got a team, man. Bro, I don't know what's happening in Africa right now, but they've got some flipping players. This Morocco team looks crazy. So in goal, you've got Bunu, who's a very good goalkeeper. I'd say he'd be England's #1. Maybe I'm being a bit unfair on players like Ramsdale, but I think he's a really good goalkeeper. You got Hakimi, you got Messina, who's a Premier League proven player. Got Sace, who's again another Premier League proven player. He seems to be a bitch against Man United as well. You got Sofian Amrabat, who was going to sign for Tottenham, and I know he's a very good player too. Loser. I can't ever say his name. Fajir. I can't say his name. Elias Chair, who I've seen a lot. I watch quite a bit of Championship football, and he's a fun player to watch, man. He's really small though, isn't he? 5'2", man's tiny, bro. But yeah, he's a baller. He's a very good player. Then you've got Munir. Munir, bro, I forgot about Munir. So you've got Munir, you got Boufal, you got El Nasseri, who I don't know how he's doing this year, but last year he had a really good season, didn't he? Yeah, he's struggling a bit more this year, but he's proven himself at the top level in La Liga. Just to make this team better, bro. Just to actually be like, oh god, they've got Taarabt, Adel Taarabt. El Arabi, who scored against Arsenal a few years ago in the Europa League. They've got Taarabt. Oh shit, they got Taarabt. If they had Ziyech, I genuinely think they could come first in this group. And that's a big stretch to pull. I don't know how he performs for them overall, but I think if they had Ziyech starting, bro, it would be not a guarantee, but I think they would go through. They would go through. And I mean, I guess it depends on what happens with the beef with the manager. But if he comes back, man, I think he could actually be the difference for them qualifying. And Croatia, who are aging a bit, but they're still the Croatia team they're a good team. They've got a lot of experience and just a very good team. But saying that, I still think Belgium will come first because they're Belgium, right? I'm just going to go with Canada second, man. If Morocco gets Ziyech, I think they might be able to come second. I'm going to put Morocco third, and I'm going to put the finalists, Croatia, fourth. Now that's a really, really this is a very tough group to predict. It could easily go the complete opposite. Canada bottom, Belgium second bottom. Maybe not Belgium second bottom, but Croatia going top. And maybe it's my English bias from the previous World Cup. But honestly, this is sort of what I'm getting at. Maybe Croatia third, Morocco fourth. You could sort of switch that. But I do think Canada's sort of excitement to play in a World Cup could actually really help them. And that's just why I've put them there, really. But yeah, big surprise of the tournament. Croatia going out in the group stage. Is that the big surprise? I think so far. Let's get into Group G now. So in Group G, we've got Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. I think this probably is overall the group of death with a standout team. And that's Brazil, so that Brazil going to go top. You just look at their team from top to bottom, it's class. I say that, actually, their fullbacks, especially right back, they've got a lot of issues. I think Dani Alves is still their starter, and he'll be like 40 come the next World Cup. So, I mean, yeah, he's probably our biggest worry, but at the end of the day, if Dani Alves is your biggest issue, you're doing quite well. I think second will be Serbia. Again, we're going to get into this one. Just off the top of my head, you've got, obviously you got Jovic, who's not as good as maybe he was hyped up to be before, but he's their backup striker. You've got Mitrovic, but you've got Vlahovic, Milinkovic, Savic, Tadic. They're all the itches, bro. It's mental. You've got, who's their centre back? Milenkovic, the Fiorentina centre back. He's a very, very high level player. And I mean, there's a lot of other sort of central mids that I'm missing, or CDMs that I'm missing, but this Serbia team's good, and let's not forget they finished above Portugal. It might have been a bit of a precarious decision as to why, because Portugal had a goal disallowed and all this kind of stuff. But Serbia, they're looking good, man. I'm not going to lie. I think there's a lot of excitement for them. They've got a lot of youngerish players coming through, and yeah, I think they'll come second, actually. I think they can maybe get a draw against Brazil. And third, I think I'm just going to go for Switzerland because they're a good team. Cameroon are also a good team, but Switzerland, obviously, they knocked France. They knocked France out in the Euros. So yeah, they're always a good team. And maybe they'll finish second, you know, because Serbia, maybe they might underperform or whatever. There's going to be a few underperformers and maybe they'll be one. But yeah, Switzerland third, Cameroon fourth. And that's how my Group G has gone. Let's get into Group H. So Group H, we've got Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea. This seems like sort of the group of the underperformers, especially for Portugal. Like, you look at their team, oh my days, don't take the piss, man. So you got Rui Patricio in goal. Very good goalkeeper. He's like one of those goalkeepers who maybe doesn't catch the headlines, but he's just a very good goalkeeper. Diaz, one of the best centre-backs in the world. Pepe, probably, he'll be playing. Obviously a lot older, maybe he's a bit of a weakness, but if Pepe again is one of your weaknesses, you're doing quite well. Then at right back, you got Cancelo, one of the best fullbacks in the world. Left back, probably Nuno Mendes. they've got a lot of good fullbacks, but I think Nuno Mendes will probably be their number one. Very good left back. Now let's go to midfield. Boom. Neves, Moutinho, Bernardo Silva too. I think, does he play in midfield or does he play on the wing for Portugal? I don't know. Then Bruno Fernandes. Boom. Obviously, then you've got Bernardo Silva. Boom. Jota, Ronaldo, you got Renato Sanchez, you got João Felix.
Boom, 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 boom.
How do they not perform better? How? I don't get it. You look at their team and it's a joke. It's an actual joke. This is their year, man. This is Portugal coming first, Uruguay second. I hope Ghana get their revenge. I would absolutely love Ghana to get some revenge on Uruguay for that 2010 disaster where Suarez cheated them. Again, I was watching that game. They were my team. I was rooting for Ghana, and it was just scammed away from them. But the Snake Suarez got them, and I think he'll get them again, even though he'll be again getting on even more than he is already. There's a lot of good youngsters coming through at Uruguay, although they're sort of two main players, Cavani and Suarez, and Godin as well, getting on. They've got a lot of good youngsters. They've got Ronald Araujo, the Barcelona centre-back. Got Jimenez, the Atletico Madrid defender. Then the midfielders, you've got Bentancur, you've got Valverde, two. It's like that's a very good midfield. And then you've got Torreira as well, who I don't know if he starts for them, but good player. Nandez as well, an energetic footballer. And you got Nanes. Darwin Núñez, not Nanes, Darwin Núñez, who's flipping hell. The new boy on the block. He's sort of like, you've got sort of Haaland and Vlahovic being seen as the sort of the two future strikers. Darwin Núñez is going to come up to that, man. I mean, a lot of people rate him, but he's going to blow soon.
Why are you gay?
He's a very good player, and they've got a lot of good youngsters coming through. And I think, yeah, Uruguay, they're always a good bet to go through. And in this group, I think they will just do well. South Korea, not even spoken about them. I think they'll finish third. I think there'll be a lot of draws and just a lot of draws in this group. So I think every team will pick up a few points. Maybe Ghana pick up 2, then maybe maybe Ghana draw against Portugal, Uruguay, South Korea then beat Ghana, then Uruguay and Portugal just get their points however else. And I mean, yeah, obviously Son, baller, but I think in this team he'll just struggle. I think he struggled in the Asian qualifiers too, so yeah, if you're struggling there, you're going to struggle against teams like Portugal and Uruguay. So yeah, that's my predictions for Group H. But yeah, that's my group stage predictions for the World Cup. Don't take it too seriously. Firstly, I know it's 7-8 months away, and I know my predictions are probably going to be completely wrong, but I wanted to be a bit more like sort of out there. I don't even know if I am with some of the predictions, but yeah, that's what I've guessed. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know your predictions in the comments. I'll see you for the round of 16 video soon. And yeah, until next time, peace.